थैंक यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस ऑन दिस संडे आफ्टरनून। आज हम सभी एक री स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं। हमने लॉकडाउन से पहले ये सीरीज स्टार्ट करी थी एंड वी ऑलवेज टॉक ऑन हेल्थ, वी ऑलवेज टॉक ऑन फिजिकल हेल्थ एंड मैनी अदर एस्पेक्ट्स। बट जो हमारी साइकोलॉजिकल हेल्थ है, जो हमारी मेडिकल हेल्थ है, मेंटल हेल्थ है, उसको शायद कहीं ना कहीं हम थोड़ा सा नेग्लेक्ट करते हैं। वी शुड नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट एज फार एज आवर definition of health by Ayurveda or by WHO, both they are mentioning that it is a combination of physical, mental, emotional, social and spiritual well-being. तो अगर आप फिजिकल हेल्दी नहीं है, आप मेंटल हेल्थ में आप नहीं है, मेंटली आप हेल्दी नहीं है, देन आप इमोशनली, सोशली या स्पिरिचुअली अगर आप हेल्दी नहीं है, तो कहीं ना कहीं यू विल हैव एन इश्यू एंड यू विल हैव एन डिजीज. एंड मेनी टाइम्स वी हैव सीन पीपल आर सफरिंग फ्रॉम सो मेनी डिजीजेस, but they are not able to get the diagnose or they are not able to get the treatment or the solution. वो कितनी सारी दवाइयाँ खाते हैं पर फिर भी उनको अपनी प्रॉब्लम का सॉल्यूशन नहीं मिलता, बिकॉज कहीं ना कहीं फिजिकल लेवल पर इशू नहीं था, इशू साइकोलॉजिकल या स्पिरिचुअल लेवल पे था, जिसको इफ यू हैव एड्रेस्ड you will be getting a permanent solution without any medicine also. So in that context, we are very much thankful to iskcon, specifically the iskcon Ghaziabad and Govindpuram congregation, to give us this support of these experienced speakers and professionals to come on our platform and to discuss about this spiritual and mental health and all these aspects with all of you. So we again welcome Shashi Priyanath Das Prabhuji, and we are very much thankful for him for giving time to our platform. He is MBA Finance from Indian Institute of Finance Delhi and Diploma in Financial Management from IMT Ghaziabad. More than 16 years of experience he is having in financial services, and right now he is the proprietor and business head of AACS Investment Managers and managing several high net worth clients. He has also worked previously in Standard Chartered Bank and Bajaj Capital, and he is connected to ISKCON from last more than 10 years now and given seminar in many lifestyle management topics. And also he is serving as a management committee member of ISKCON Meerut, and he has helped many families to grow in their personal lives, and he is organizing multiple programs for young professionals as well. So thank you, Prabhuji, for giving time again to us, and we are looking forward to have a session, have a nice informative session from you. And I request all of you who have joined today, you can post your queries and questions. जैसे भी सेशन चलेगा, जैसा भी टॉक चलेगा, तो आप सब लोग अपने प्लीज क्वेश्चन या क्वेरीज को पोस्ट करें, and end of the session we'll be taking up your questions as well. So over to you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Piyush Prabhu. As everybody knows, Dr. Piyush Prabhu is the founder for this Indian Vaidya's website and this initiative, and he has been doing a very nice job creating such a platform where people not only can benefit with the medical help, they can also benefit with the mental or the psychological support, which is very much required, as he just explained. So I'm very much thankful on behalf of ISKCON that you are doing such a nice job and creating such a good interactive platform and helping so many people around the globe. So I heartily welcome all of you here who are listening to us live and who will be listening to this seminar offline as well. So today we have a very interesting topic called spiritual dim in difficult times of life. It's a very unique topic actually. आप लोग अगर टॉपिक पढ़ोगे तो शायद एक बारी में समझ में भी नहीं आएगा कि ये टॉपिक है क्या, किस बारे में बात करने जा रहे हैं. But this is very important topic as far as our lives are concerned, because wherever you go in the around the world, you see people have some roots towards spirituality. Whatever religion they may follow, whatever caste they have, whatever country they live in, whatever circumstances they are into, whatever social status they maintain, but they have some spiritual roots, some spiritual practices what they follow in their life. And we also see that it's a regular practice for them, it's a regular routine for them to do some spiritual practices whatever they like in their life, when the life is going smooth, when the life is going happy, when the life is going according to the expectation of that particular person. But the challenge comes when life throws some upheavals, when life throws some difficult times on us. Then it becomes very difficult to stay firm, to be very stable with those spiritual practices or spiritual beliefs, because when the difficult times comes in life, when there are unexpected situations, adverse situations in life, it shakes our spiritual beliefs and it leads to stoppage of our all spiritual activities or spiritual interests whatever we are into. So that is why we are calling it spiritual dim. Spiritual dim means we are getting lower on a spiritual side whenever there are difficult times in life. तो जब भी कोई मुश्किल का समय आता है तो हमें लगता है नहीं, कोई नहीं है ऐसा, कोई पावर नहीं है, कोई भगवान नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, अगर ऐसा होता, कोई होता देखने वाला तो मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों होता, मेरे साथ इतना मुश्किल समय क्यों आता, why I would have faced so much of difficulties in life, and our beliefs goes down. हम लोग बहुत लो फील करने लगते हैं और बहुत डाउन फील करने लगते हैं, और if it prolongs for some time, then we leave our spiritual practices and become or move forward on the path of becoming atheist. तो जब भी कोई बुरा समय आता है तो हमें लगता है कि नहीं, कोई नहीं है हमारी हेल्प के लिए, भगवान कुछ नहीं है, कोई ऐसी पावर नहीं है, कोई ऐसी शक्ति नहीं है जो मेरी टेक केयर कर रहा है, अदरवाइज मेरी लाइफ में ऐसा क्यों होता. This gives us frustration, and out of that frustration we tend to disagree or disbelieve whatever we have been practicing spiritually. So to keep our spiritual roots strong, this session has been organized कि हम उसके बारे में डिस्कशन करें कि ऐसा होता क्यों है, what is the root cause of it, and is actually somebody there who is responsible for this. Why these difficult times are coming into my life? If the difficult times do not come, then my belief will stay firm and I will continue my spiritual practices. But hota kya hai? Whenever we are into difficulty, we start blaming God. कि भगवान आपने ये कर दिया, भगवान आपने वो कर दिया, भगवान ऐसा क्यों कर दिया मेरे साथ, भगवान वैसा क्यों कर दिया मेरे साथ. Because we hardly have a practice of blaming ourselves. We hardly have a practice to blame somebody else, because he will respond and he will clarify. But Lord doesn't speak out of his statutes and doesn't clarify his own part. So it is very easy to blame God and tell him that you have not done this for me, you have not done that for me. And doing this, we become spiritually weak. And हम लोग क्या करते हैं, धीरे धीरे अपने स्पिरिचुअल प्रैक्टिसेस को फॉलो करना छोड़ देते हैं, and we become atheist over a period of time, or the other generations, next generations of us become atheist, because we are not putting values in the next generation and they become atheist. And when they become atheist, then there are hundreds of problems which comes up. तो अगर हम स्पिरिचुअली स्ट्रांगली कनेक्टेड नहीं है, तो आज हो सकता है हम गुस्से में आके या फ्रस्ट्रेशन में आके अपने स्पिरिचुअल बिलीव्स को, अपने स्पिरिचुअल जो भी प्रैक्टिसेस हैं उनको छोड़ दें, लेकिन उसका रिजल्ट बहुत अच्छा नहीं होने वाला है. द रिजल्ट इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी वेरी डेंजरस गोइंग फॉरवर्ड. सो ऐसा होता क्यों है, इसको समझने का प्रयास करेंगे कि क्या होता है, व्हाट एग्जैक्टली हैपेंस. I'll tell you a small story With that, you can understand. There was a very wealthy man in a city, and he was so wealthy, he had all the luxuries with him. He had big cars, big bungalow to live in, big income coming in every month, and whatever, wherever he wanted to spend, he used to spend money. So one day he thought, let me help poor people. I have got so much of money, I have got so much of wealth, let me share it with the poor people. So what he decided is, he brought so much of groceries like rice, dal, or accessories, whatever we use, groceries at our home, and he brought all the accessories towards his rooftop and start throwing those accessories from the rooftop on the road. And near to his bungalow, a few meters ahead, there was a small colony of poor people. So when those all poor people saw that the groceries are falling from the rooftop to the road, they all coming in running and started picking up all the groceries. And they were very happy that free of cost they are getting milk, they are getting breads, they are getting rice, they are getting dal, all whatever they needed, they are getting free of cost because it is falling from the rooftop of that bungalow. So every day, and that person who was throwing them from the top of the bungalow, he was very satisfied that I am utilizing my money in a very nice manner, and I am helping these hungry poor people, and they are collecting many items from the road and living happily. And every day he used to continue this practice. Then what happened, after 4-5 days, he realized that none of those poor people who were collecting articles from the road have never looked up or said or tried to search who is throwing so many articles for us. Why somebody is giving so many free articles to us every day? Nobody realized it. And everybody was busy collecting this item and that item, and they started quarreling, they started fighting amongst each other कि मुझे ये नहीं मिला, मुझे ये चाहिए था, मुझे ये नहीं चाहिए था, मुझे ये चाहिए था. They started fighting with each other for those articles. So the wealthy man thought कि मैंने इसके लिए तो ये start नहीं किया था. I haven't started this so that people start fighting amongst each other. There is something wrong which I am doing. And they are thankless people. These are not looking up. They are not even thanking me. They are not looking even up who is doing this. And they are not appreciating my effort. So why it is happening? So that wealthy man again became disturbed and went to a monk. हमारी लाइफ का भी कुछ प्रॉब्लम होता है तो हम यूजुअली साधु के पास जाते हैं, पूछते हैं कि बाबा जी कुछ सॉल्यूशन बता दीजिए. So the wealthy man approached to a monk and said, narrated the whole story कि मेरे पास बहुत पैसा है and I have got lot of wealth. I wanted to help some poor people and I started doing this service that I collect groceries. I go on the rooftop, I throw the groceries down on the road and people come and collect it. तो साधु ने बोला अच्छी बात है, what is the worry for you? So the man said, my worry is that nobody cares for me, nobody is looking up, nobody is thinking who is doing for all this for them. So Sadhu said that you want people to recognize you, you want people to see who is throwing all this, you want people to communicate to you. So he was happy, yes, I want to do that. So Sadhu narrated something in his ear and said, you follow this and everybody would start looking at you. Oh, the man was very happy that he got the solution for his problem. He went back next day and again started throwing something from the rooftop as he used to do every day. And there were lot many people on the road to collect all those accessories or objects which he was throwing from the rooftop. And today, instead of throwing articles, groceries, milk packets, rice, dal, he started throwing stones. And when stones were going on the poor people, they started looking up and started shouting, "Hey, what do you think of yourself? Why you are throwing stones on us?" So as soon as they got the stones instead of the groceries, they started shouting and looking at the wealthy man standing on the rooftop and recognized him and started shouting on him. So what we need to understand with this story is that we all are like those poor people. And the wealthy man is compared here with the Lord, with the Supreme Lord. He throws innumerable quantities of objects to us. He gives us this beautiful body, He gives us beautiful family, He gives us beautiful society, He gives us job, He gives us wife, He gives us parents, He gives us children, He gives us lot more opportunities, ideas, good health, innumerable things He gives us free of cost. And we never thank Him back. We never take out time and thank Him back. And not even recognize who is doing it for us free of cost. But whenever there are upheavals, whenever there are stones in our life, we immediately look up to the God and start shouting, "Hey, how can you do this with me? I have not done anything wrong. How can you do this with me?" Isn't it? So we are very thankless because we have been receiving for so many years innumerable gifts free of cost from the Lord by His causeless mercy, but we are thankless. We never look up and thank Him for giving so many good things in life. Instead, we always hanker whatever we have not got in life. We always keep on demanding whatever we do not have in life or whatever we want in our life. And if there are difficult times, then the situation is even worse. Then we start shouting on Him. Then we start blaming Him that you are the one who is responsible for this. So my question is, why this happens to us? Why we do this? Why we start blaming Lord for negative things or for unexpected wrong things happening in our life? The answer to this is because we do not have much knowledge about God. We do not have much knowledge about why this all is happening with us. If we know the process, if we know the Lord, if we know the activities, whatever is happening in our life, they have certain logic, certain reasons behind it, then we will never be doing it. And the spiritual dim of our life will never come in. We will always be enthusiastic, we will always be carry on whatever spiritual practices we are doing in our life. So to understand that, we need to see what all good Lord has done with us. How many benefits, how many gifts, how many good things He has given to us, and He has never asked for any charge. Especially during this corona period, many people had this oxygen problem that they were not able to breathe properly and they had to had a oxygen cylinder installed at home or installed at hospital to breathe properly. And Lord mercifully giving us oxygen for last so many 30, 40, 50, hundreds, thousands of years free of cost and has never sent us a bill for the oxygen. We hardly are able to pay the oxygen cylinders bill what hospital gives to us. If God one day generates a bill for whatever oxygen He has supplied so far, we will never be able to pay. But we are so thankless, that we never ever go to the Lord and say thanks, that whatever you are giving is too much for me and I am indebted. Please tell me how can I serve you. Please tell me how can I love you. Please tell me how can I thank you. We need to understand this. Why we are not able to do it? Because, as I said, we do not have knowledge about it. And hardly we try in our lives to understand why these opposite things or bad things happening in our life. Why these difficult times at all coming in our life. And who is responsible for it? Is the Lord responsible for it? Or there is somebody else who is responsible for it? In this story which I just narrated, the wealthy man was throwing stones on the poor man. But in our lives, real lives, does the God throw stones? क्या भगवान हमारे ऊपर कुछ ऐसा करते हैं जिससे हमारी लाइफ में कोई मुश्किल समय आता है? I'll tell you one more story, and that's a real incident. You must be knowing a very popular tennis player whose name was Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe was a very known tennis player and used to play tennis, and he was a Wimbledon champion for constantly. He won 5 Wimbledon tournaments in a row. So what happened with Arthur Ashe at the later stage of his life, and he was a very spiritual man, at a later stage of his life, he developed a terminal disease. He developed such a disease due to which he was on deathbed and counting his last days for the departure. So all over the globe he had his fans, followers. So everybody used to write letters to Arthur Ashe and writing or praying for his good health, for his good recovery. But a very different letter came to Arthur Ashe, which he read, and it is being said that Arthur Ashe only replied to that letter, that one letter. And that one letter said, Arthur, you have been a spiritual person whole of your life, and you have played, you have got so many awards, you have got so many recognition, and you are a spiritual person also. But why God chose you to give this terminal disease? God shouldn't have done this to you. Why He chose you? You are a very good person. Why you got this disease? So Arthur decided to reply this particular letter. And what Arthur replied? Arthur Ashe replied that all over the globe, approximately 50 lakh people start playing and learning lawn tennis, out of which maybe 5 lakh only learn professional tennis, and out of those 5 lakhs only 50,000 qualifies for some district level or state level competitions. And after so much of filtering, only hardly 50 players gets qualified for a Wimbledon tournament. And out of those 50, not even 50, even lesser. And out of those 50, there are only 2 who reaches the final. And out of those 2, there is only 1 person who wins the trophy and holds the trophy. And for 5 continuous years, I got that trophy. Out of those 50 lakh people, I was the one who was holding the trophy, and not only for 1 year, for 5 consecutive years. And I never went back to God and said, why me? Why he chose me for every time to be a winner, for every time to be a world champion? And I never went back to God and said, why me? So if I have got something wrong, something opposite, something critical in my life, why I should go to Lord and say, why me? It was a very beautiful answer given by Arthresh. But in our lives we see, whenever we get something good, whenever we are happy, when the life is going good, we never went back to God and say, thank you so much for giving me this, for giving me that. But whenever there is something bad happening in our life, whenever we are in difficult times, we always approach God and say, you are responsible for this. Why you are not listening to my prayers? Why you are doing this to me? Why wrong I have done? And we always think that we are always right. मैंने तो कुछ गलत नहीं किया, मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? But we need to understand this whole life of ours works on law of karma. You all must have heard about law of karma. Law of karma is very simple. You all must be knowing about it. Law of karma says, whatever you sow, that is what you reap. जो भी हम बोएंगे वही हम काटेंगे. Whatever we sow, that only we reap. So it's a very simple thing. If something opposite is happening in our life, that means we have done something wrong in our previous life, and that is what we are getting right now as a reaction of that past bad karma which we did. And karmas are very complicated. Karmas are very, very, very complicated, and we will not be able to understand it properly unless we go through in detail. So there are many types of karmas. There are instant karmas, there are delayed karmas, there are combined karmas, there are individualistic karmas, there are 100 types of karmas. And we cannot calculate that I did so many years back this thing, and that is why I am getting the reaction. For example, I'll give you an example. Suppose you go in the market and you eat something fishy on the roadside, and tomorrow morning your stomach is upset. So the reaction came immediately next morning. But suppose you are smoking for so many years and you develop cancer after 20 years. So the reaction has come after 20 years. So there are certain activities in our life which we do right now, and the reaction comes after so many years. And there are certain things in life which we do and we get the immediate reactions. So we do not have that much knowledge and that much skills to calculate which activity will result in what reaction in our life. So what we have to understand and do is we need to restrict and see what we are doing right now, because whatever we have done in past is being done and we cannot go back and correct it. But whatever we are doing right now, or whatever we are expected to do in future, we can correct that. But we will only be able to correct it if we understand this, that this karma, whatever we are doing today, will have a reaction tomorrow. So if we understand this, then there will be never a time that the opposite things or the unfavorable situation comes in our life and we get so low, so dim in our life that we leave our spiritual practices. So as I was talking about karma, karma has many varieties. Suppose I am going on the road and I punch somebody and he immediately punches me back. So I instantly got the reaction. I gave a punch to somebody and he punched me back. That's an instant karma. And suppose I did something bad and the karma came after so many years in some way or the other. Many people say that there is mishappening happening for with small children, but छोटे बच्चों के साथ इतना बुरा हो रहा है, छोटे छोटे बच्चों को बहुत सारी बीमारियां लग जाती हैं. उन्होंने क्या गलत काम किया है? ऐसा तो नहीं है उन्होंने कुछ किया था, उनको किस चीज का रिएक्शन दे रहे हैं भगवान? ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है उनके साथ? Why this is happening with small children? But you see how it is. Suppose you have gone to a movie theater to watch a nice movie and you became half an hour late, and when you went inside the movie hall and the hero was fighting with the villain and beating him, and you say कि ये कैसा व्यक्ति है, he is fighting with somebody and beating him without any reason, he is not a good person. And you may understand कि हीरो ये है और विलन वो है जो मार रहा है, and you may get confused about it because आपने पूरी पिक्चर नहीं देखी है. You have not seen whatever has happened in the past half an hour in the movie, and we try and see, and हम लोग अनुमान लगाते हैं. We only guess this is what has happened and that is the reaction. But we don't know that the villain has been doing so many bad things in last half an hour of the movie, and that is why he is getting the reaction from the hero right now. तो हमें नहीं पता जिस बच्चे के साथ कुछ गलत हो रहा है या किसी के साथ भी कुछ गलत हो रहा है, what he has done in his previous lives. We have not seen it. We don't even know. But God knows everything. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna that Arjuna, you being a jiva cannot remember what has happened with you and what is going to happen with you. But I, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, knows the past, the present and the future. So, we being into this journey of life, we are changing bodies from one body to another body to another body, but the karmas continue from one body to another body to another body. Maybe whatever we have done in 5 births earlier, the reaction is we are getting today. So we have to be very, very particular, very, very critical about whatever we are doing in our life right now, because we are going to get the reactions for the same. If we do good, we get the good reaction. If we do bad, we get the bad reaction. So the question arises whether we should do good or we should bad, and who will decide what is good and what is bad. There are situations whereas one thing is good, एक ही काम एक सिचुएशन में बहुत अच्छा है और एक ही काम उस सिचुएशन में किसी और सिचुएशन में गलत है. तो इसको कैसे समझेंगे? How we will understand this? Actually, every karma is bad karma, because even if we do good, we have to come back to get the luxuries of life, to get the good reactions of life. If we do something bad, we have to come back and suffer for that reaction. So whatever we do, whether we do good or whether we do bad, we have to come back and get the reaction for good and get the reaction for bad as well. So these karmas do not cancel each other. Somebody thinks that मैं कुछ अच्छे काम कर देता हूँ, कुछ खराब तो हो ही जाते हैं, तो अच्छे काम मैं ज्यादा कर दूंगा, खराब काम थोड़े कम करूंगा तो मुझे अच्छे रिएक्शन मिलेंगे, खराब रिएक्शन नहीं मिलेगा. No, it doesn't work like this. If you do 3 good karmas and 2 bad karmas, then you get 5 reactions, 3 good reactions and 2 bad reactions. So it doesn't cancel each other. So that is why I'm again and again repeating that whatever we are doing in life right now and we are going to do in future, we have to be very particular, we have to be very thoughtful whatever we are doing. Otherwise, these bad reactions would keep coming into our life because we are doing bad right now. Now the question arises, who will decide whether I am doing it bad or whether I am doing it good? Am I the authority to decide? I do not have any knowledge about it. How can I decide what is good and what is bad? Is the society going to decide what is good and what is bad? Is some NGO is going to decide what is good and what is bad? Who is going to decide? The only authority we have is scriptures. The scriptures has already decided and written everything, that what is good and what is bad, what a human being should do, what a human being should not do. If you do this particular thing, that you get this reaction. If you do this particular thing, you get that reaction. Everything is clearly mentioned into the scriptures. But we do not study the scriptures. We do not have time. We have so much of busy life that we do not study scriptures and follow them in our life. So whenever you buy something from the market, suppose you buy a mobile phone, you get a manual with it. You buy a washing machine, you get a manual with it. You buy a car, you get a manual with it. And that manual tells you how to operate this particular instrument, this particular machine, this particular phone. But when this machinery of human being body has been made by the Lord also gave a manual in the form of Bhagavad Gita, in the form of scriptures. But the human being never refer to that manual and keep living his life whatever way he wants. My way is highway. Whatever I think is good and I am enjoying my life. Let it go like this. And then when the bad situation comes, when the opposite, when the upheaval comes in our life, then we think, why this is happening? The God is responsible for this. I am not responsible for this. And I am not looking for my own activities, whatever I have been doing for this within this lifetime as well as in the past lives as well. So it is very important to follow the manual in the in our lives. It is very important to follow the scriptures. Now the question arises, how to follow these scriptures? From where do we get the knowledge about? So there are so many scriptures. We only need to read Bhagavad Gita. That is the summary of all the scriptures. If we read Bhagavad Gita as it is, if we apply those principles into our life, that is sufficient. The Bhagavad Gita clearly tells us what to do, what not to do. If we keep reading it, keep applying those principles in our life, then there will be hardly any times which are bringing upheavals, which are bringing in bad situations in our life. And those past karmas who are giving reactions right now, we will be able to handle them more efficiently, more intelligently. We will not be bewildered. We will not be worried what to do. Ab kya hoga mere saath? How my life will continue? That situation will never come. And that knowledge will stabilize my faith in whatever religion I am following, in whatever spiritual practice I am following. Because in difficult times, it is more needed to be connected to the Lord. It is more needed to be connected to your roots. But we, because of lack of knowledge, we leave that strong support in our lives and get away from our spiritual practices. In your difficult times, only spiritual practices, your spiritual beliefs can save you. Otherwise, Normally you see people get so much disturbed, so much disturbed, that they decide to end up their lives. They decide to do suicide and end up this life, and they think by doing this they'll be relieved. No, suicide is not a very good option. It's again giving you a bad reaction. And any some other life, you again have to suffer for this suicide. This is again a sin. End up this body without completing the time. So it is very, very important to grab knowledge about it, to grab knowledge about the karmas, how they act on us. So if we refer manual in our life, then we only do those things which are recommended to do in a human form of life, and we avoid those things which are not recommended in manual. As you do with everything else, you don't charge your mobile with a 700-watt charger. You only charge with a 220-volt charger because it is recommended in the manual. But if you by choice log in your mobile with a 770-watt charger, the mobile will burst, and then you will say, "What? Why this has happened to my mobile?" This is what we have been doing with our lives. We are doing so many activities which are not recommended for us, and then after so many years, when we get the reaction, we say, "Why this is happening with me?" So the mistake is ours, that we have not read the manual, we have not read the scriptures, we have not followed the scriptures properly. If we start doing it today, then we'll be relieved out of these situations. I'm not saying that the upheavals will stop coming into your life. The upheavals will come because we have so many past reactions also. But you will be able to handle them very nicely. You'll be able to handle the situation very calmly. And that phase will pass on, and you will be always be stably connected to your spiritual practices and your spiritual beliefs. When you are into difficult times, the only help you have is not the money, is not the family, is not the society, is only your spiritual practice. Because whosoever atheist you meet in the society, ultimately when nothing works, he goes to the temple and prays to the Lord, "Lord, please save me, please take me out of this situation." That shows that ultimately when we are not left with any other material option. We only have the option left to go and ask help from the Lord. So those spiritual practices, spiritual beliefs, whatever we have in our life, we should stably rely on them and increase the intensity. Instead of going away from them, we should increase the intensity of prayers, intensity of request, intensity of our spiritual practices, so that it gives us boost, it gives us stability, it gives us strength to handle the opposite situation, to handle that particular critical situation, whatever has happened in our life. And God is never responsible for whatever bad things happens to us. We are the one who is responsible for it, because we have done something wrong in past. In Mahabharata, very interesting incidents comes when the war is over, when everything is over. The Dhritarashtra was alive, Krishna was there. Then Krishna went to meet Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra in person asked Krishna a question. "Krishna, you gave me birth as a blind man. I could never see the word. Secondly, you gave me 100 children, 100 sons. And then you got this war going on, and all my 100 children vanished. They all died. Why you gave me so much sufferings?" As we blame the Lord, the Dhritarashtra was also blaming Krishna. for whatever happened in his life. So Krishna beautifully explained that Dhritarashtra, 100 births before, you were a hunter and you hunted a bird's nest where a bird was sitting with his 100 children, and you threw the arrow and those all 100 children died and the bird became blind. For that reaction you got, for that activity you got the reaction in this life that you came in this world blind and all your 100 sons died in this war. So Dhritarashtra again asked Krishna, if I have done something wrong, you must have given me reaction at that point of time itself. Why you took 100 birds to give me such a reaction? So Krishna explained that for getting a son in a human form of life, first of all, to get a human form of life is very difficult. Second, to get a son in a human form of life is even more difficult. You need so many pious activities to get a son. So you accumulated so many good activities over past 100 births, and when those activities were collected, then you were eligible to get 100 sons in one life. So that situation has been created by the nature, that all your good activities have been collected together and given reaction in the one birth. So you got the opportunity and you got 100 sons in this life. Then the reaction of that activity which you did 100 births before, that reaction has come to you right now. So this is very complicated to understand what reaction is happening right now, in how many years back, how many births back we did this. But what we need to understand right now is that the reactions comes. You cannot eliminate or eradicate or erase those reactions from your life. So it is better, it is good, it is intelligent decision to decide to learn how to act, how to do activities in this particular life, so that we can escape those bad reactions coming into our life at future point of time. So whatever we sow today, we will reap tomorrow. If we sow a mango seed today, we will get mangoes tomorrow. If we sow a cactus today, we will reap a cactus tomorrow. So see what we are sowing right now. That is what we are going to reap tomorrow. And when we will reap, that we do not know. When the reaction will come, that we don't know. So whatever bad things, whatever upheavals are coming into our life, we should not blame somebody else. We should not blame God. We should not blame to our spiritual practices. Even we should have firm faith on the Lord. We should have firm faith on our spiritual practices, so that they can help us to become stable, to become normal in those difficult times, in those upheavals of life. So becoming dim is not a good option. We should become more brighter when difficult times comes. So a very nice quote which came across, which I would like to share with you all, and that quote says, when God pushes you to the edge of difficulty, trust Him fully. When God pushes you to the edge of difficulty, trust Him fully. Because two things can happen. Either He will catch you when you fall, or He will teach you how to fly. Only two things can happen. Either God will catch us whenever we are into difficulty, or God will make us learn how to fly or how to get over with that difficulty. So leaving God aside, leaving our spiritual practices aside, leaving our spiritual beliefs aside, is not a very good option. That will lead to even more difficult situations in our lives, because we will have no spiritual, mental, psychological support in our life, and which is very, very, very important. There are many times when the money doesn't work, the family doesn't work, only your spiritual practices, your psychology, your mental strength works. So if you are spiritually well connected, spiritually well rooted, then whatever comes to your life, you are able to go through or pass it through comfortably. But if you are spiritually not enrooted, if you are spiritually not very well connected, then the situation may shatter you many times, and you do not find any solution, where to go, from whom to ask the help. So whatever profession you are into, whatever business you are into, whatever service you are into, it is good to have expertise on it, but it is always good to be connected. And there is a tree, I am forgetting the name of that tree, that is a very thin stem, but those trees never fall when there is a windy weather, or whenever there is a बहुत जब तेज हवा चलती है, तूफान आता है, तो वो पेड़ कभी नहीं गिरता, because those trees are well connected together from the roots. So if we are well connected to our spiritual roots, we will never fall, we will never shatter whenever difficult time comes. We will never be dim. We will always be bright if we are spiritually connected. We are getting strength from our spiritual activities. We are getting strength from our spiritual knowledge. So it is very, 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 very important to introduce those scriptures, those manuals which I just suggested into our life, and start reading them, start understanding them, start living them in our lives, so that we can pass through all the difficult times whatever we got in our lives. So that spiritual dim will never come. We will only be having a bright, sunny, good life going on, and whatever shaky comes, whatever opposite upheaval comes, we will be able to pass it through with a very comfortable and good going way. So we will not have any stress, we will not have any anxiety, we will not have any depression. We will be passing it through with the ability to handle it in a particular manner, and that scriptures will tell us how to handle it. So I will conclude my talk here. There are 5 minutes left, 5 to 10 minutes. We can take any queries, any questions if any of you have related to this particular lecture. I would like to tell you here that we at iskcon conduct a very nice seminar which is called Discover Yourself, and this seminar conducts 6 this type of sessions which in detail talk about the karma, the reactions, the deeper knowledge of the karma reactions, and how you can handle this in your practical life. So whenever you get a chance, you please attend those seminars. You will have a broad idea. In that 1 hour time, we cannot cover all the aspects here. I just tried and gave you a broad idea why these things happens to in our life, and how we can escape this on a short note. So if you have any queries, you all are most welcome. Thank you so much.
Right. Great. And again, thank you so much, Prabhuji. It was an excellent, informative session. I can see, as per our data, after a gap, we have done this, but still more than 1,000 people have attended this live today on our YouTube channel and on our various other social media platforms like Facebook and LinkedIn. So till now, more than 1,000 have attended this live, and more will be seeing later on as a video. Also, it will be available on our YouTube channel and our other platforms as well. So thank you so much, and I think if we are able to at least enlighten 1,000 people today, it will be an excellent effort from our end, because the information you shared, the the basic aspects you have informed us and make us aware. I think that was excellent. Questions are there. I would like to select a few, two, three questions only. We need to respect time as well. So first question is Prabhuji, it has been asked as far as all this negativity in terms of pandemic, epidemic, and many people are getting decline in their professional life, in their businesses, in their jobs as well. How they can uplift that, and how they can like manage that negativity, and how like spirituality or maybe connecting to God help them. So the specific question, in fact, this is a like many people have asked us this question in past also. We were waiting when we will restart the iskcon sessions so that we can put this. So all of us are aware, due to this pandemic and epidemic, many businesses are getting impacted. Many people are losing a huge amount of money, and jobs are declining, and financial crises are there in many households. So the specific aspect is, from that financial crisis, we need to now rebuild or maybe regrow the system. So how then we can take benefit from getting connected to God and spirituality and all those aspects?
Thank you so much. That's a very good, interesting question you asked, and many people ask us the same question because on these such kind of pandemics and critical situations, people tend to think when the businesses are low, when the jobs are going off, when you are not able to keep up your financial health good, keep up your intellectual health good, then how the spirituality is going to help in this. First of all, I would like to answer here is that we need to have firm belief that whatever is happening with me is happening for good. That trust you have to have, and that trust will come when you are spiritually connected. If you are spiritually not connected, then this trust will never come. You will never be able to believe that whatever wrong is happening in my life, it is good for me. And actually it is good for you, because you cannot see your future, but there is somebody sitting up can see your future. He is giving you something right now so that you can blossom tomorrow. You can come up with some more ideas, you can come up with some more innovative things and blossom going forward tomorrow. So there is no activity which is being came to our lives. There are some reactions, as I told you during the lecture, that there are some bad activities in the past for us, for which we have to have the reactions right now. Keeping this knowledge in mind and having the full firm faith in the destiny, in the Lord, that whatever happens is happening for the good, and keep that positivity in mind when we do work with the knowledge that work will definitely bring good results. We will definitely be able to take us out from all these bad situations, pandemic situations, or whatever bad is happening into our financial life or business life. So connection with spirituality will definitely help you in this. And how this can help, that cannot be narrated in the lecture, that you can only feel. Once you are connected once you are following some spiritual practices, then you yourself feel that you are now more confident, you are now more able to handle things efficiently, and now you are able to move on, you are able to take the next step in your life. Because whatever bad things comes to our life, it seems that there is no other way, now I am stuck and I have no other way to go move forward. But when you are connected to the spirituality, every day there is new hope coming in, every day there is new way open, new doors opening in your life, because your activities and your thinking process is now based on the spiritual practices and scriptures. So it is very, very important to be spiritually connected if you want to remain stable and don't want to get disturbed with these upheavals, because these things will not stop coming in, because we have done many things in past and we have to suffer or enjoy the reactions of whatever bad, whatever good we have done. So we cannot stop it, but what we can do is we can strengthen our knowledge right now, we can strengthen our practices right now, so that it can give us way to move forward from here.
Right, right, Prabhuji. And second question, again, we got this question in many past sessions also, and today also I have received on my like inbox. Uh, See, this question is very specific. Sometimes we have seen that in like life, one partner is towards spirituality, another partner is not. And questions we are getting as doctors as far as the issues with the relationships these days, specifically with the like wife and husband issues, and in the families, like they are getting affected. So maybe some brief idea
Yes.
that, like for example, somebody has started this journey of spirituality, but the another partner is not supporting, and there are challenges in that aspect as well. That is a very specific question we got in past sessions also with other speakers we have discussed. But with you, we want to discuss this
Right.
because as you have from last 1 hour you have explained. But problem is if in a house, in a home, if for example wife is following spirituality but the husband is not following, and there will be barriers and there will be like issues for the wife also sometime, that husband is not
Mhm.
supporting, he is not able to follow the entire spirituality due to that resistance. So what can be the solution for this issue?
See, there is no straightforward solution to this problem, and then this problem persists with everyone. I understand that if the husband is following some XYZ spiritual practices and wife is not convinced and wife doesn't show interest, then the clash comes in, and then they both start fighting in कि मुझे ये करना है, मुझे वो करना है, because the interest varies. So what to do with that? There's a small simple solution to it. मैं कई बारी बोलता हूँ बच्चों को, आपने देखा होगा, इफ यू टेल द चिल्ड्रन, दीज मॉडर्न चिल्ड्रंस, कि आज लौकी की सब्जी बनी है, आप प्लीज लौकी की सब्जी खा लो, दे विल स्ट्रेट अवे से नहीं नहीं मुझे लौकी नहीं खानी है. सो इफ यू आस्क कि आपने कभी लौकी खाई है, दे विल से नहीं मैंने कभी लौकी नहीं खाई, बट दे हैव दिस साइकोलॉजी कि लौकी की सब्जी है तो गंदी होगी और मुझे वो सब्जी नहीं खानी है. So my point here is, what I'm trying to make a point here is, when you have not tried something, you have no right to comment on that. Suppose your wife is doing some spiritual practices, you cannot say no or yes to somebody, to some activity, until unless you practice it and you realize it, and then you say नहीं मैंने करके देखा मुझे तो अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, I don't want to continue this practice. Then it is logical, it is intelligent decision, it is good. If you have tried and it is not working on you, if you have not tried and you say नहीं, जैसे suppose आपके profession में भी होता है, there are many people who are very resistant to Ayurvedic medicines, I don't know why. They will say नहीं हमें तो immediate relief चाहिए, we will go to allopathy. Why? You try the Ayurveda at least once. If it doesn't work, then you say कि हाँ आयुर्वेदा ने काम नहीं किया तो मैं इसलिए एलोपैथी पे चला गया. But if you are not trying Ayurveda and you say that Ayurveda is not working for me, it is ridiculous. It is not the way. You cannot accept or reject something on the face of it. You have to try it, and then only you can decide whether you want to continue such practice or not. So into the spirituality also, suppose one partner is doing some spiritual activities or interested in some spiritual activities, he has his intelligence, he has his intellect with it. So we should respect that intellect, that intelligence, and try whether he is doing right, whether he is doing wrong. Let me support her or let me support him for some point of time. Let's see together whether it is working for us, whether it is bringing some positivity into our life, whether it is giving some good results to us. If it is not, then we can always discontinue. There is not a compulsion to follow any spiritual practice, but we have to try. Until unless we try, we will not be able to know whether it is good for us or whether it is bad for us. So the decision is that, the conclusion is that we cannot say no or yes on the face of it. We have to try it first, and if it doesn't work, then we are open to say no. If it works, then why not to follow? Why to bring in so much of ego कि नहीं वाइफ लेके आई है तो मैं कैसे एक्सेप्ट कर लूं? आई एम द मैन ऑफ द फैमिली, आई हैव टू decide what to do, what not to do. No, if she has got some good idea, we should respect it. If the husband has got some good idea, the wife should respect it and try it and then say yes or no. Then you will be able to convince your spouse, your family member also that I have tried, I have lived it for a month, for 2 months, but it doesn't work for me. I have some different interest. Sorry, I won't be able to continue. Then these fightings, these clashes will not happen. But if we say no on the face of it, then that other person is always dissatisfied कि कुछ देखा तो है नहीं कि क्या मिल रहा है क्या नहीं मिल रहा है, कुछ फायदा भी हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है, and you have said just no by listening to it कि नहीं मुझे तो यहाँ नहीं जाना है, मुझे तो ये अच्छा नहीं लगता है. Just to respect to the other person because you are in a family and you want to continue that good relationship for life, it is good to give some time to that particular activity. See whether it is beneficial for you or not. If it is not, then you can conveniently communicate and say no, it is not happening for me, sorry, I won't be able to practice it. And if it is happening, then why not to practice? We have been missing so many things, why not to add this thing and elevate ourselves into spirituality or whatever you are following in your life. So my answer is that we should give it a try. Until unless we try, we should not conclude whether it is good or not.
Great, great. I think excellent suggestion, Prabhuji, again. And the final question is, in the current scenario, there is a challenge from last 1.5 year, almost 2 years now, that kids are not going to school and parents are managing them at home. So, what is your suggestion or what is your guidance? How we can? Many times we have seen kids are also getting irritated. They are becoming a bit rigid also. They are more inclined to the gadgets, smartphones, and all, and they are seeing all the videos and all. So many people who are either devotees are directing kids to the spirituality. Still, many families and many parents have issue. And we got in our clinics also, as the audience of this session today are predominantly doctors. So, what do you suggest for the kids, for the children, for the teenagers? How we can maybe direct them, or maybe I will say uh, make them aware about the spirituality, because sometimes they feel that we are too young, or maybe this is not the right time to start this journey for spirituality. So what is your suggestion and what is your guidance to all of us regarding the same? Thank you.
Piyush Prabhu and all of you, please understand this one fact. If you do not feed positive things right now into children, then this society is filled of negative activities and negative things. You do not think this, that if you are not feeding negative things, that the negative things will not go into your child. The environment, the friend circle, the school environment, the phone, the internet, everything is feeding the negative things into their mind, into their intellect. So it is very, 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 very mandatory to infuse positive things. If you do not infuse positive things, then the negative things will occupy that space. So if you don't do anything, you don't feed positive things, you don't feed negative things, still the negative things will coming, because that is all over around. If you see the phones, if you see the Facebook, if you see the WhatsApp, they're all negative things are going around, which are not helping your child to build a good character, which are not helping your child to build a good intellect. So it is good to infuse positive things. Now the question is, what positive things to infuse? You can infuse good characteristics into him. You can infuse how to live with the parents. I urge to all the parents these days, because of lockdowns, because of pandemic, you have got sufficient time at home. You please spare some time and spend time with your kids. Listen what are their interests, play with them, spend time with them. They will be able to get that connect with their parents. Otherwise, in these days, modern cities, parents are so busy, both are working, they do not have time for kids. They hardly spend time with the kids and listen what kids want, how he is reacting to a particular situation. They don't even know what their kids characteristics are, because they have not spent sufficient time. So it's a blessing in disguise that in this pandemic you have got time, you are at home. Better to spend more and more time with your children and infuse some spiritual practices into their life, like rising early in the morning. These days I see kids are sleeping 2 o'clock in night and rising 10 o'clock in the morning. That will shatter their intellect. If you go into Ayurveda, you all are experts more than me. Early rising is very, 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 very important and very beneficial for your mental health. And these days all kids are rising very late in the morning, so that's very bad for them. So like small spiritual practice, we are not asking them to do mala or do chanting or do something else. You can involve them in reciting shlokas. Maybe they do not understand the meaning, maybe they do not get into uh, to their intellect what is the meaning of it, what Krishna wants to say, what Arjuna wants to say. No, we do not expect them to do that, but at least by reciting shlokas, Sanskrit shlokas, the lesson becomes clear, the understanding becomes clear, and what important thing happens, that they start inquiring. Because these days we see these generations, they have vanished inquiry, spiritual inquiry especially. They will seek कि हाँ ये एक्टर कहाँ पर है, ये एक्ट्रेस कहाँ पर है, इसके साथ क्या हो रहा है, इसके साथ क्या हो रहा है, फेसबुक पे क्या हो रहा है, व्हाट्सएप पे क्या हो रहा है, बट दे डू नॉट हैव एनी स्पिरिचुअल इंक्वायरी. When you involve them into spiritual activities, then they will have spiritual inquiries, and spiritual inquiry will lead their life into some spiritual roots which will help them forever. बिकॉज अभी तो वो बच्चे हैं, कल को बड़े हो जाएंगे तो उनकी भी लाइफ में बहुत सारे अपहेवल्स, बहुत सारे नेगेटिव सिचुएशंस आने वाले हैं. वी शुड गिव देम स्ट्रॉन्ग कैरेक्टर, वी शुड गिव देम, इट इज पेरेंट्स रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू गिव देम स्ट्रॉन्ग रूट्स सो दैट दे आर वेल कनेक्टेड एंड टेक सपोर्ट फ्रॉम दोज रूट्स व्हेन दे आर इन द टाइम ऑफ नीड. तो थोड़ा थोड़ा स्पिरिचुअलिटी उनके लाइफ में जरूर इन्फ्यूज करना चाहिए, जिससे कि इंक्वायरी जनरेट हो एंड दे आर वेल एंगेज्ड ऑल्सो from the first point. If you are not engaging them, then they will be engaged into the negative activities. So इसका हमें थोड़ा ध्यान रखना चाहिए और बच्चों के साथ ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा टाइम स्पेंड करना चाहिए और स्पिरिचुअल एक्टिविटीज़ को थोड़ा थोड़ा इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं कि हम एक दिन में उनको बहुत कुछ बनाना चाहते हैं and we want them to recite all of the Bhagavad Gita in 15 days, but थोड़ा थोड़ा स्पिरिचुअलिटी से कनेक्टेड उनको रखना चाहिए हमेशा. That is always good.
Great, Prabhuji, and thank you again for your time. And it was a really very informative session today. I can say, and as I can see, so many people are still connected to us and listening to all these discussions. So thank you so much. We are looking forward to have many more informative sessions with you and with other speakers from iskcon, because ये psychological and spiritual level पर जो feeding है, जो guidance that is very much required, and I request all the audience to please be in touch with us on regular basis, and we'll try to have at least every alternate Sunday senior people from iskcon to guide us on this journey. Thank you, Prabhuji, for your time, and I thank all the audience who have attended today this session. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much all of you, and thank you Dr. Piyush Prabhu for engaging me in this service. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.